Hello everyone, it's Hex here. Today I've got an interesting question for you. Are automatic farms worth it? So first of all, I want to start off by defining the question just a little bit better. I am not here to rant on automatic farms at all. This is actually my design of automatic farms. I've made several of them on my channel in case you didn't know that. I really like them. I think that with a little investment of time, or sometimes a large investment of time, you can get a farm that constantly produces the items that you want and it constantly outputs them. So all you have to do is come over and pick them up from the chest. Of course, the powered rail is not part of the farm, and you're good to go. Once you set it up, it's good for your entire world until you decide to delete the world or move significantly far away. So actually, this guy right here, the manual farm, can't even really compare whatsoever to an automatic one. Or can it? That's the question that I'm asking today is that initial investment of time and resources, which in some cases is very significant, is that actually worth all that time and investment, or can you get the same result from one of these? Well, the answer is, it depends. Of course, you knew that was coming. First of all, if you want to build an automatic farm, build an automatic farm. If you want to be able to just come to the chest and open it up and get what you need out of it, then build an automatic farm. If you don't like harvesting manually like this, then of course, build an automatic farm. If you just want to build them because you like automatic farms and you like the way they look and you like machines and redstone and stuff like that, then yeah, you should build an automatic farm. But if your only concern is about time, and the amount of time that it takes to build this versus the amount of time that it takes to build and harvest this, then you might want to watch the rest of this video because it's kind of interesting, especially this one. Okay, so let's take a look at this one here. I built this by hand, manually, in Creative. I did not use any structure blocks or any commands or anything like that. I built it by hand, one block at a time, the entire thing, and it took me 25 minutes and 46 seconds to build. So in time, that is 1,546 seconds in time. Okay, and now that I have this built, I do not need to do anything else to it except open the chest and look in there and get out the items. I did build this in creative mode, which means that I had all of the resources that I needed on hand, and I built it so like floating around through the air. Now, if you were to build this in survival mode, you might want to consider how much time it took you to harvest, say, all the iron for all these hoppers. Of course, I used iron blocks, but we're not counting that. How much time it took to get the redstone, how much time it took to get the quartz for all of these observers, how much time it took to harvest enough sugarcane initially to fill up the farm, and those kinds of things. I did not include those in the time. So that's important to think about too, because that probably would, if it was me playing, it would probably about double the amount of time. So it'd probably take about an hour for, I'm not really even sure about this time, but we're going to use this time for our test because in order to test it in survival mode, that would be very, very difficult to get an accurate test of like, okay, how long did it really take me to get all of these items and only these items necessary to build this farm? The other thing is that this has 60 sugarcane plants in it. So there are 60, each row has 10, and there are 6 modules going upwards. So this has 60 sugarcane. This little farm down here also has 60. So how long did it take me to build this thing? Well, it took me 1 minute and 54 seconds. The harvest time, it took me 19 seconds to harvest this entire little field of 60 sugarcane, which actually is, for a manual field, this is a pretty small one. That means that every sugarcane actually took me 0.16 seconds to harvest. So basically I took 120 sugarcane, which was the production of this farm, and I divided it by 19.33 by 120 to figure out that one sugarcane took me an average of 0.16 seconds, so a little more than a tenth of a second, 1600ths of a second, so a very small amount of time. But the thing is that adds up, because this farm, once it's built, the entire time that it took me to build this and harvest all of it forever is 25 minutes and 46 seconds. That's it. Where this one here, it took me 1 minute and 54 seconds, but it does take time every single time I want to come out and harvest it. Well, being the mathematician that I am, I realize that this is a system of linear equations, which sounds really scary. Please don't pause the video and leave and try to find a different one, because I'm going to walk you through this. So basically, what happens is my initial investment of time is 1 minute and 54 seconds, which gives me 114 seconds. And 0.16 for every single X, which is a one harvested, so that's X right there. One harvested sugar cane. That's X, one sugar cane. Okay? So it takes me 0.16 seconds for every one of those. So this is our equation. 0.16 seconds times the number of sugar cane I want, plus 114 seconds to build this thing. Okay? This is our equation over here, just 1,546 seconds. Just flat. Okay, so let's look at the results of this. Let's look at a graph. Yeah, we're going to look at a graph. I know. Okay, here's our graph. So this top line, this red line, by the way, I'm using this thing called desmos.com. It's a little graphing calculator that allows me to enter in our little equations and see the graph. So basically, this red line is the amount of time that it took to build the automatic farm. As you can see, it took quite a bit longer time than down here. This is the initial time that it took to build the manual farm. Now, the fact that this graph is going up, that's the 16.16x part. And that means that it's actually growing by 0.16 for every single sugarcane that I harvest out of it. And you can see that over here at 6,000, it's starting to approach the red line. But right here at 8950, so about 9,000 sugarcane, once I hit 9,000 sugarcane, now it takes more time to harvest out of the manual farm, the blue line, than it does the automatic farm. So that's what I mean by it depends. Our break-even point is this number right here. This is, if you were to solve this using algebra, the equation would look like this. But the break-even point is 8,950 sugarcane. So what that means is once I've harvested 8,950 sugarcane from this farm, it means I have now reached the exact amount of time that it took me to build this one. So if I harvest one more sugarcane like that, then that means that this farm has now taken me longer to operate and use than it took me to build this one. And therefore, I should probably have built this one because this has taken me a lot more time. Well, a tiny bit more time. Now, if I continue to use this one, then that means that it would have taken me quite a bit longer to operate the manual farm than to just go ahead and build this monstrosity. That is, of course, assuming that we're not counting the build time, which would make this increase quite a bit. Or sorry, not the build time, but the harvesting of the materials. So what this means is that 8,950 sugarcane, that's a little hard to think about how much that is. So what that is that's 140 stacks, or 2.37, so like 2 1/3 double chests. So two of these filled all the way, and then another one filled to about the second row or so, like right in here. Okay, so that's what I mean by it depends. If you are just using your sugarcane farm to make books and the occasional bookshelf and the occasional decorative piece of sugar, or the occasional potion of swiftness in using some sugar once in a while, then this farm is probably the way to go. If you are trying to trade with villagers, then these guys, let's see if we can look at their trades real quick. 31 paper for 1 emerald, and you have to do that multiple times to figure out like what books they have, and then you have to go through them. So if you're trying to trade with villagers, then you might actually hit this 2.37 double chests relatively quickly. So it really depends on what you're doing. So if you want to trade with librarians and try to get mending books that way, then I would definitely consider investing in an automatic sugarcane farm. But if you're not trading with villagers and you only need sugarcane for making books to enchant, for the occasional bookshelf, and for the occasional potion of swiftness using the sugar, or maybe making pies and cakes and things, then I would go with this manual guy because it's going to take you less time. I apologize that this one has been a little bit technical as far as the mathematics in it, but I hope that it's answered the question for you about which one you might want to build. All right, this has been Hex. I hope that you enjoyed this little video. If you did like it, consider sharing it with somebody else. That'll really help my channel out a lot and is a great kindness to me. But for now, I hope they're having a wonderful day, and God bless.